Oh. Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant, and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to everyone, we welcome everyone to the Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We will continue our study circle on Gita Vahini and chapter 11 on the soft copy you have. It is page 50, and you have the hard copy, the edition we have. It is page 99. So we'll be starting with the paragraph. Therefore, whoever enters upon this sadhana with the determination will attain the supreme goal. What sadhana? So, for the continuity, last week we talked about the sadhana is meditation, one of the methods to be in communication with God. Meditation is also called Raja Yoga, because there are mainly 4 yogas which are described in Bhagavad Gita by the Lord Krishna. The one is Karma Yoga, that is for all of us we do, but how do you do that? Nishkama Karma Yoga, dedicating all the actions to the Lord and doing without expectation for the fruits. That is Karma Yoga. Then Bhakti Yoga also he talks about in chapter 12, where he talks about how to love God and what are the qualities a devotee, what they should possess. And third is Jnana Yoga, which is knowing our real self, that we are Atma, we are the divine, we are Brahman. So he talks about throughout the Gita, but mainly focuses in chapter 13, where he describes the qualities of a jnani. Who is a jnani? If you want to say who is a jnani, realized soul, just look at those qualities. If you have, then you are. There are about 20 qualities. Same thing with devotee, there are 35 qualities. So you can do your own self-audit, whether we fit in this criteria or not. So, but then the next one, fourth one is Raja Yoga. That is path of meditation. So that is mainly described in the chapter 6, that is called Atma Samyam Yoga. All of them will lead to God. So there is everything by it. But I wrote that in the editorial and also talked about it. Which one contains all the 4 yogas? Bhakti. Lord's Prayer. Swami, what he himself wrote, Lord's Prayer contains all the yogas. So first is take my love, that is Bhakti Yoga. Take my hands and let them incessantly, that is Karma Yoga. Take my soul, that is. So read that thing, so Lord's Prayer, because nowhere else God has written, to my knowledge. I don't know, who knows, I can't authoritatively say. But Swami, yeah, all those things are there. Then soul is Jnana Yoga. And mind and thoughts tune, that is a Raja Yoga. And then finally, you become one with Him. So all the yogas, like Bhagavad Gita's, he took 700 shlokas, Lord Krishna explained. Swami concretized like a pill, encapsulated in one prayer, Lord's Prayer. But you need to dive deep and analyze, then you know all the yogas. But this meditation, it is a fad nowadays. Everybody says, What are doing? I'm doing yoga. You know, a lot of Westerners and my colleagues used to say yoga. For them, what does yoga mean? Most of the people, the yoga means this physical exercises, putting head down, shishasana, atasana, this fishasana. There are many postures. And then breathing exercise. Pranayama and asana is considered for most of the people yoga. No doubt there is yoga, but there is hatha yoga, which is good to make you physically strong. That is also important, but that is not the goal of Raja Yoga. Goal of Raja Yoga is liberation. What is the yoga means?
Union with God.
Yeah, union with God. So any of these techniques are all make, unless it is takes you in union with God, it doesn't see. So meditation, which really focused purpose of spirituality is get rid of the body consciousness. This hatha yoga, so mainly the people go on more on the probably some emergency call. Yeah, emergency. So the most of the thing, so it is focuses more on the body. As I said, good health is important, but the focus should not be how to you can develop muscles like those people, wrestlers, thing, or like Muhammad Ali, they're fighting, boxing. So that is focusing on only on the physical thing. So if you have all the good physique, you know, brains, it is no good. There are people who have good physical strength, but no brains. But there are people who have brains. That is also good, but they don't have a spiritual attitude. So the most in the gradation, more than physical strength, important is intellectual sharp. We have knowledge, intellectual knowledge. For example, in India, you may be very strong, but you come, it won't go. But you are intellectual because of our education. Wherever you go, you can really live. But higher than that is spiritual, because it's not only for this life, because this education takes you one place to another in this world, but spirituality takes us from life to life. So in all the three, the most important is spiritual, being spiritually strong. But there is nothing we should develop other, like Hanuman is a great example. Physically he is strong, he could cross the ocean just like that. And he was intellectually sharp. He was know all the grammars, all the shastras, and all the music and fine arts, everything he was good. But most greatest quality of him was his love for God. He was so dedicated. That is why Swami put his statue above even the gods, like Jesus, Zoroaster, Shidiba, everything. He's the number one highest statue um, is for Hanuman. So God, when he loves the devotee, he puts them in a higher place than himself. Do you know any other place where God puts the devotee higher than himself? Another place there is. Very pilgrimage place. Srikalahasti. There is Shiva temple that is called the Vayulinga, where uh, Lord Shiva is worshipped as air. This Vayulinga, like Chidambara Akashlinga. Here, Kannappa, the great devotee Kannappa, Kannappa Nayanar, that is one of the greatest Nayanars of those days, 63 Nayanars. So he is there on the top of the hill. Lord Shiva's temple is at the bottom of the hill. So shows how much Lord gives the devotee. Coming back to that, so this meditation, first we should have clarity that it is for being united with God, for liberation. These are side things, doing exercise, hatha yoga, breath control, all those is okay. But so we should, anybody says yoga means you don't be things that are very commonly used, particularly in the West, and they think it is originated here. They know thousands of years ago, or people actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita was more than 5,000 years ago. What does each chapter call? Yoga, Vishada. Even Vishada is considered a yoga. Vishada is sorrow, right? Vishada yoga. Then you said Sankhya yoga. Then Karma yoga, Karma Sannyasa yoga, Jnana yoga, Atma Samyama yoga, Vijnana yoga. Like that, all the 18 chapters. At least you should know, when you are doing Gita Vahini, at least you should know the names of the chapters. So Vishada yoga, sorrow as yoga, but what is the purpose of the life? Happiness is union with God, right? How could Vishada can be a yoga? One saint beautifully said, because if everything is going good, people don't think about God. So that time, Arjuna was despondent. He was dejected, depressed. He didn't know what to do this way or that way in the middle of the war. So when then he went and surrendered to Lord Krishna. So this despondency or sorrow sometimes makes us, hey, what is the purpose of life? Why are we here? We turn towards God. That is why even sorrow in the right people, if you have good samskaras, it will lead to God. But in some people, it can take you to alcohol, drugs, depression, and like thing. But if you have good karma, God's grace is there, will more intensely you love God. So anyway, coming back to the control of the Raja Yoga, important, Swami said, Lord Krishna said, is control of the mind is the most important. Because Arjuna said, Lord, I can even hold air in my hands, but I can't control my mind. It's so difficult to control. It is so turbulent, it is fickle, it jumps all over. Please help me. Then Lord Krishna says, Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam. No doubt, my son, it is very difficult to cross. But what is the technique? He gave two things. We should know by this time, everybody in the dream also you should tell. He said, but for Ram, what is the two things? Abhyasa and Vairagya. Because this is for spiritual seeker, every day that is important. Two things to control the mind. Simplest things is Abhyas and Vairagya. Then it's constant practice. Every it jumps there, again. Swami one time was telling one girl how to control, like when you are learning bicycle, first time you fall, again get up, again fall. After a while, you do the bicycling even without holding the handle by yourself because you are so good. Same thing, mind, it is turbulent, it goes all over. So constantly you need to watch, then practice. But practice should be associated with vairagya, dispassion. Because if our mind is into too many worldly activities, so you cannot practice concentration one point. And because all those thoughts, whatever sensory input we have, what we watched, whether TV or media or everything, all those will have impressions in the mind. And whatever you heard, whether it could be radio, computer, or TV, or through the friends, that will have impression. All the inputs you have to the different senses, they will be there and they will disturb you during meditation. That is the time when you are quiet, all these thoughts bombard us. That is why the importance of the control of the senses so much emphasized. So, Abhyasa and Vairagya. That is why they say, I was reading Swami's Dhyana Vahini. Please read, everybody. It is available in ebook in our website. It doesn't cost you anything. You can go and download it. There, Swami says emphasis on company. Whenever you meet people, when they talk, your mind takes you away from God. They talk about worldly matters. That means that is not good for you. You should stay. Better to be alone rather than be in such company. Swami said, be always in the company of those who talk about God, who love God, who want to serve. So those people, then it will make your love also grow. Whereas if you do that anytime, you get company of the worldly people who talk about mundane things and distract you, it will take you away from God. And if you are in the company of the good and holy people, then you also will be tuned. It will reinforce your love. So you should be very, very careful. It is emphasized by all masters, Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Shirdi Baba, Swami, everybody, Lord Krishna. So what does one is Abhyas and Vairagya. And second is the most important is the company you have. Because in meditation, this one-pointedness is important. And also, I would suggest at least these two things you should read. One is chapter 6 in Bhagavad Gita, that's Atma Samyama Yoga. And second is Dhyana Vahini. here, that's what we have been talking last 2 days, where Atma Samyoga meditation, how to do it. First, we should know the purpose. Whatever you do, you should know why you should do it. Like you want medical school, I want to become a doctor, help people. Similarly, why do you want to do meditation? Purpose, goal, liberation. Then how do you do it? Then there are so many techniques, he said. First is sit straight, sit on a firm ground. In the old days, he says you can put a skin of a deer, or just you can darba grass in a grass mat. So not a comfortable cushion bed or something like that. Then you feel like dozing off. Or a nice rocking chair. Then you naturally you'll slow. So you firm with the thing. So that's a posture is asana is important. That kind, not putting head down, feet up. Shasana, that is good for something, but for this you need to have. Then still your mind and control, watch your breath. Sometimes you are breathing rapidly, that means your mind is agitated. So these physical things, and you should be in a very clean environment. You can't outside cleanliness, inside cleanliness. Both are important. So you have a specific place every day in your puja room to specify, and then you do meditation. And then it should be regular too. One day you can do at 10 o'clock, one day 7 o'clock, one day 12 o'clock. So try to have fixed times, both morning and evening. Some people do even 3 times a day. Particularly preferable time they call Sandhya, that is junction of night and day. So this is morning between 4 and 8 a.m. because that is called Sattvic time, and same thing in the evening between 4 and 8 p.m. So these are usually Sattvic time for good spiritual practice. But you need to specify. If you get up early 4 is good Brahma Muhurtam, but it's not. Anytime between 4 and 8, at least you should start some spiritual practice. Same thing in the evening. So time and regularity. Swami says niyama and nishta. So the posture and the regularity in time. And second, two most important things Swami said is faith and love. Shraddha Bhakti. So you should say, hey, I'm going to focus with that my goal is focus on my real nature, whether it is love or dhyana. And then we should have love. Love is the most important. Otherwise, a lot of people who do meditation, they go mental because they don't have love. So it becomes very dry. So you should always, love is the most important. You should have that love for God. For that, what is helpful? To think about the name of God. Our name is the greatest, sweetest thing for any name. Rama, Krishna, Parasri Satsai, Om Sri Sai Ram, any name, and stick to that name. So, and then along with that, you can think about the form. But Swami emphasizes most on the name, because name is eternal. So then you think that, and then think about his leelas. Then you will develop love. Because otherwise, it becomes mechanical repetition, like even tape recorder will say Om Sri Sai Ram. We should have developed that love. Then the meditation will give results. So whenever you have problem, health problem, what do the doctors do? You're a doctor. He gives a medicine. So the Swami says, Mandu Patyam. That means they take this medicine. Patyam means observe these regulations. That means, for example, you have high blood pressure. They take this medicine. And what is the thing? Don't eat too much salt. So don't get too much excited. So those things, just only taking medicine, watching that won't help. Only watching that, if you don't take medicine, won't help. Similarly, Swami says you need to have this name and form that is like medicine, love. But you need to watch some observations. That is why we talked about last week. Yuktahara viharasya, yukta cheshtasya karmasu, yukta swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. So moderation in eating, moderation in sleep, moderation in work. Because these are the things every day we eat, so we should have moderation. Every day we sleep, so moderation. Every day we work, whether you are retired or not, still you work at home, at society. So all this is the middle path. So except, I told last time, no middle path is for loving God. For loving God, you do the day and night, every second, every minute. You should be intoxicated, possessed. Yeah, work for Swami, do his thing. You are possessed by, as Swami Vivekananda said, Grahavishta Buddhi, as if you are possessed. Grahavishta means possessed by some people who are possessed by a ghost, but they behave different. Similarly, you are possessed by the divine ghost. You are so that you are all the time thinking about him and do like Hanuman. What can I do? Thinking about him. What can I do for him? Then your mind will be in control. So this is the. I think already I took long time to do, but they're important points which we discussed last week.
Yes, Sairam uncle, I'm little outside, so there might be a slight noise. But my question was a question that often people ask in different forums about this timing, the Sandhya time you said, the Sattvic time. It is the most appropriate for doing sadhana. That is agreed. But what if our life circumstances are such people work late at night or people have some commitment, mostly career, the most important and large chunk of time that is between ages 28 to say 60, the major more than half of our life is in that is the time they're working, and if work does not permit at this time, what do we do? Should we change work to, I mean, what is the practical solution for this? Because this most fertile time for sadhana is not available for me because I'm caught up in my work.
Yeah, any time you think about God is the holy time. That is why Bhagavatam says, Deva Devani Chinchintu Dinam Dinam. Whatever day, whatever you think of God, that becomes a holy time. Even I asked one time to Swami Rahu Kala, because Swami was telling me, oh no, Rahu Kala, and Monday, I remember that, 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. is Rahu Kala. So Swami said, oh, he didn't want to go on Rao Kalam to Bangalore. He was going. Then he told me to come with him. So then he said, after Rao Kalam. Then I said, Swami, you are Kalatitaya. You are beyond time. You are beyond Rao Kalam. So why do you watch? Then Swami said, see the people there outside, they believe in Kala. So I had to respect the views. Similarly, God is beyond time. Anytime you think about God, it is good. But this time is traditionally over millennia by all spiritual seekers found this is good because the time is a quiet time where your distractions are the least between 4 and 8. Because that is what traditionally Sattvic time, Rajasic time, Tamasic time. That is what Swami clearly said. 4 to 8 is the Sattvic time. 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. is Rajasic time, where we all go to work most of, in general, this is general guidelines. And again, 4 to 8 p.m. Sattvic, then 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. is Tamasic time, where you that hour. So 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic. But nowadays, the other day I had a meeting with the young adults. So just let us have the meeting, and that is our time, 7 a.m. And then she was a little bit, though she was very good, the young adult, doing a lot of good work. And she says, she was a little bit, so what happened? Oh, it is too early, Dr. Reddy. I felt bad. Maybe it is for, what is the time? Because she was in Mexico City. I thought you were 2 hours ahead. Yeah, it is 9:15 early. What do you mean by 9:15 early? For young adults, Dr. Reddy, it is very early. I slept at 1 a.m. And then I said, I understand your situation. What can we do? But really, ideally, early to bed, early to raise. Even me, when I was not all this responsibility. I used to go bed 9:30 p.m. and get up at 4. But now I go at 12:30. So it is hard when your time schedule. So work around time schedule. But as much as possible, we should try to do that. That is why even Rudram chanting, everything they find this Pradosha time. So this is not just Swami himself that said in his scriptures, but people, if it is not practical, whatever time you think, but people who are lazy, just they do that. Very few people have night watchmen all the time or night work. But people who have, you can make time. If you have will, where there is a will, there is a way. You can do that. So even half an hour, you just during the time you make it, that is much more productive, they say, than you do the same sadhana at different times. You get a multiplier effect. use that.
Well, thank you.
So that is the question, right? He had just, go ahead.
Today I came across this quote from one of Swami's messages, and it said, "The minute you start focusing on my name itself is meditation." That's
Yeah, yeah.
only one liner. It was. I guess it's appropriate.
Yeah. In Dhyana Vahini, that is what Swami says. Emphasis mainly on the name, which is the easiest, some of the easiest. There are so many types of meditation, the Jyoti meditation, just on the light, just you had meditate on just qualities, love or peace, or Nama meditation, Namas, Rupa Sahita Dhyanam, that means thinking about the name and form. There are many, and Soha meditation, just watching the breath control. There are many types of meditation that is available. Each one, whatever suits us, we do. And in general, it is said is the easiest is repeating the name, because something which we know, though God is beyond all names and forms and attributes, but you need to start somewhere. And this is also prescribed by all great masters. And Swami in Dhyana Vahini actually dwelt on 2 chapters on this only. So just, that is why all of you need to do some homework on these things, the Dhyana Vahini and this Atma Samyama Yoga. Then you can give a little bit background how to do this.
I want to share on meditation. I have started doing I never did meditation before, but I have started doing meditation when COVID started because we had more time. So I said, okay, well, how can I use this time better? At that time, I started and then I stopped in the middle and I resumed it again. But one thing I noticed is whenever I tried to sit for meditation in the morning hours, mind was all over, even if it's 5:30 or 6 in the morning. The same meditation when I used to do at 9 or 9:30 or 10 in the night, it's much more calmer. I guess every person is different. Whatever suits um, ourselves
You have a
better.
temperament, and you have, whenever, finally, bottom line is you need to be in communication with God. That's why Swami said, you may be in a cave, in a forest, but your mind is all over here. It doesn't serve anything. You are maybe in a marketplace, but you think about God. That is much better. But in general, practically speaking, when it is a quiet place, quiet time, for me, it is easy. Even some little noises, it distracts. So just that quietness itself makes you, because Nishabdam Brahma, silence itself is Brahman. So in that you can, the Swami says, in the depth of silence, voice of God can be heard. So just that quietness is important. And that is the time in general the world is quiet. That is why it is prescribed. But each one, whatever makes you, finally is, ultimately is be connected with God. That is the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, we continue. Okay, so almost finished. It's good. Anyway, we had discussion.
Sairam, so actually, since we're talking about detachment, just wanted to also share about it's just the mental process is the detachment to our relationship, the worldly. You keep serving and detach. But I think when you develop the attachment, mainly I was thinking of 3 components. We talked about God, Ishvara, so that we need to develop that intent relationship with the Ishvara. And then the Guru, which is for us, Ishvara and Guru is the same. And then Sastram, all the scriptures, that intense devotion, what they taught, what scriptures taught is the truth. And then our detachment gets easier for other things.
No, it's a simple thing. The more you are attached to God, you are more detached from the world. Like Sri Ramakrishna said, you are going towards the north, automatically you are going from the south. You don't need to do that. Main thing is you should try to be involved more. Like here, you can think about the world. You are talking about God, scriptures, singing bhajans, doing so. Automatically, the more you do that, people, the great saints, sages, they do throughout all the time. Their mind is there, so they have no chance for the worldly thought to enter them. So that is, we should not give that scope for them to come in. So that the more you are attached to God, you will be detached from the world. That is a simple secret. So then you need to have intense attachment.
Therefore, whoever enters upon this sadhana, spiritual practice, with a determination will attain the supreme goal, available only for souls transmuted through several births. Remember, the person who has achieved yoga is superior to the person who is the master of ritual karma. So strive, O Arjuna, to become a yogi, to attain that high and holy status. But this is not all you have to do. There is a status higher than even this. Whoever fixes his entire consciousness in me, whoever earnestly meditates on me to the exclusion of everything else, he is superior to all, who is a Mahayogi. I'm going to continue one more paragraph. Dhyana Yoga and Gnana Yoga both are inner disciplines. They're based on Shraddha, faith, and Bhakti, and devotion. Without these two, they're both unattainable. The pursuit itself is vain. A sadhaka deprived of them is as a wooden doll, lifeless, unaware of the goal. The basic requisite is deep-rooted prema towards the Lord. How can you get this? By getting to know the glory and splendor, the nature and characteristics of Lord, His swabhava, essential quality, and swarupa, reality. That is why I'm now instructing you about these. I'm imparting to you fully the wisdom of sastras, supplemented by the wisdom of extreme experience, supplemented by the wisdom of inner experience. However, that there's nothing further for you to know. Of thousands of aspirants, there are a few who strive to acquire this gnana, wisdom, and of those, only someone single individual achieves success. All who start don't reach the goal. I think we talked a lot. One thing I wanted to bring up here is Krishna is taking actually to Arjuna ladder step by step. Karma Yoga is being the foundation base, and then to go to Dhyana Yoga. And then he says, that's not all, but there is another thing. The holiest thing is the Gnana Yoga, knowing who God is and what's the purpose. And the other important thing I really like about is, which we talked about, with the determination we can get this supreme goal. But Swami says here, Krishna says, that's only possible for the souls that transformed through several births. So here I wanted to share how profound that is. How many lives we have passed to get to this stage. This is almost seems like it's a climax. It's like a finish line that we just so determined to get that liberation. So and then once Swami also says that if you intensely meditate on me, that is what actually Mahayogi is. And we already talked about to have the Shraddha and Bhakti. Without that, it just becomes a academic discourse. And what are we actually here? He also introduced what are we to find out about God is what are the essential qualities, swabhava, and swarupa, what is the reality? Those are the ones. And even with all this pursuit, so many people get into the spirituality, but very few actually success to reach that goal as a liberation.
Yeah, this is very important.
Very
So we should
important.
always be grateful that we have the human birth. That's why he said, Lord Krishna, these are all like formulas. People who know Sanskrit. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvamiti sammahatma sudurlabha. So of many, many lifetime. Bahunam janmanante. I said thousands of lifetime. Jnanavan, people who have the grace of God, they come to me, they surrender to me. And even among them, everything is the Lord, they're very handful. Because there he says, Manushyanam sahasresu, meaning there are 8 billion people on the path. Kaschidya yatate siddhye. Of them, few million think about God. You include there are millions of Christians and Muslims and Sikhs and Sai devotees. They're all spiritual seekers, but sincere speakers are handful. Manushyanam sahasrayetu kaschid yatatis. Some people are great Sufi mystics, Christian mystics, Buddhist devotees. Many people are there, but of them, handful only will liberate. So it is not that easy. Of 8 billion people, few million maybe try. Achidya yatate siddhaya, they try. Yatatam siddhanam kaschin mam veti. So it shows it is not easy. Churashadhara. But as we are talking about, Swami said 8.4 million species of beings. So we are lucky. Jantunam narajanma durlabham. That very fact, we are all human beings, that itself is a sign of divine grace. So as we said, we should make best use of it. This is the climax. That is the highest. Swami says, so probably we were insects before, or birds, and then mammals, and now we are humans. But if you don't make use of it, is good. You will be evolved. But if you don't make use, so you may revert to the previous birth. And there are cases where in Shidi Satyavati classical, they became goats. Two brothers killed each other, they became goats, or they became a frog, or they became a snake. And even Krishna's thing, you can read, they became two trees. So because then Lord Krishna, so you may become not only a animal or a stone, or even like Ahalya, you became a stone. So anything you can become. So main thing is to do good deeds. What depends why you revert back instead of, if you at least you stay again next life human being, that is good, but you will revert back if you don't properly. So that is why always ABC, be careful, watch what you think. This is the karma, what you say and what you do. If so, either we progress or you can revert back. It is all in our hands. That is why it is very important, because this is a warning for us. First he is telling you are how blessed you are to be born human. Think about God. Then he is warning, hey, everybody who is in the spiritual path doesn't attain the goal, only handful. So you need to have intensity, and you should have love for God. That's why prema is the whole thing. But how to develop prema, love? That is why this Bhagavad Gita is the teachings, what do we do? Bhagavatam is the glory. So to develop the love for God, you need to when you hear the Leelas of Lord Krishna, whether Kalindi Mardana, Putana Samhara, any of those wonderful Leelas, even Swami's Leelas, you read that from the various experiences. That is why we all love to hear the experiences. Like one of the qualities of Hanuman, Rama Kaja Karive Prabhu Charitra Sunive Ko Rasya. He says always he wants to hear more stories of his Lord Rama. So always anxious and do his work. These are the two important qualities. So we should also want to hear more about Swami's Leelas, glories, and also try to do his work. Then automatically our love intensifies. So that should naturally come. Some people even don't care to know who is Swami's parent, because the more you want to know more about him. Where was he born? What did he do? When did he declare Avatar Declaration Day? When did he? So the more you love somebody, the more you want to know about him, right? Similarly, the more you know God, you want to know more. So we should have that thing to know more about it. That is the longing one should have. So that is how you develop the love for the Lord. I think we'll, unless anybody has any comments, we can continue next week. Anybody has comments?